There we go. Good. So I have a couple polls here just for fun. And just so everybody kind of knows where each other is coming from here. So I clicked on it. It says launch. It failed to launch because there's an error. I'll try it again. There we go. It failed to launch again. Okay, word of advice, anybody? Computer?
When in doubt, hit it.
No. It's not,
Jiggle the cord.
no, it's not gonna work. Okay. Well, I will ask because there's not that many of us online tonight, so we could just ask. Oh, there's is. First question was, how would you describe your involvement with OFO? Are you newly hatched? That would be a new member. Are you a fledgling? You've been a member for a while, but you know, not that long, but you've tried a couple things. You're a frequent flyer. You've been a member for a while. Or a nest builder, one of our volunteers. Now, we've introduced a number of the board people. And Giz, I saw you come in. Hi. Can you say what your role is in OFO?
Oh, I wish I knew. I do a bunch of different things. So I'm trying to do a little more on conservation and a policy for that. And I try to help out as much as I can with some of the young birder things and the summer camp.
Oh, more people coming in. Okay. So I'm going to keep monitoring people coming in the waiting room, but I'd like to introduce Jeff Skevington, our club president, and he has a message to welcome everybody, and then maybe you can get right into your presentation, Jeff.
Sure. Hi, everybody. I'm Jeff. I'm not going to do a formal presentation. I want to keep this short and sweet so we can hear from everyone else. So just wanted to let everybody know some of the resources available if you're new to OFO. Hopefully a few of you are new to OFO, and the fact that you're here shows you're engaged, which is great. There are lots of things. Dave's going to talk about the excursions, our hikes and things, which we have a huge number of, and our convention, which is coming up soon, is a great way to meet other members. And all of it's handled through our website, ofo.ca, and anytime, just have a look on there. You'll find there's various resources you can get into the publications there. We have two main publications: Ontario Birds, which I just got my issue this week. Probably everyone here did. And it's a great article on marsh sandpiper in there, if you haven't looked yet. And the OBRC report, that's another thing you can find on the website, is the rare bird reporting tool. So anything that's on the rare bird list for Ontario, you can write a report. You're encouraged to write a report and submit it to them, and it will be reviewed, and anything that's accepted is then outlined in Ontario Birds every year. We also have our newsletter, OFO News, which is a little bit lighter, the next one I know has for example, highlights our summer camp. Giz mentioned that we do some things with young birders, and we had a really fun summer camp that several of us were involved in this year, and a really, really great crew of young people participating in Algonquin Park. And that's one of the things we're really trying to do more of. We have an OFO Discord server. If you're familiar with Discord, there's an Ontario Rare Bird Alert one, which OFO doesn't run. That's not us, but it's very useful. And there's the OFO one, which we run, and Mike Burrell and Ivor and others on the board have been really responsible for setting that up. And there's a Young Birders feature on there as well, which is a great way for young birders to communicate. So if you know any young birders, if you're not a young birder yourself, please point them in that direction and help link them up. It's an amazing change since I was a young birder. Another young birder at the time, James Holdsworth, and I lived about 10 kilometers apart, and we never met until we were middle of university age. And yet we'd seen all the same birds in Oxford County growing up for 20 plus years. And amazing, we'd never run into each other. Now that's all changed. That doesn't happen anymore hardly because of connections and social media. So it's an exciting time for birders. There's a lot more people taking it up and getting interested in it. And anyways, trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to mention. Those were the main points. So just I encourage you to get involved. You know, you'll hear a little more from others on the board here. Susan mentioned she's in charge of volunteer recruitment. So if there's anything you want to participate in or volunteer with, contact her, and you can get as involved as you wish. We're always looking for help. One of the strange things, for me at least, that we haven't been able to fill is vice president role. It's the president's probably the easiest job. I just talk now and then, and that's about it. But people seem to be afraid to jump into that role. But by all means, if anyone's interested in joining the board, that's an open role that we'd love to have somebody in. Anyways, I'm going to turn it back over to Angie. If there's any questions, I guess we can certainly take them now before we move on.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff.
Welcome.
Does anyone have questions for Jeff? If you do, you can go ahead and put them in the chat too, and we'll watch that. I'm going to jump over to Dave, who is our trips director, and he'll talk a little bit about some of that stuff. Hey, Dave.
Hey, hi, Ange. First of all, for the new members that are watching, I hope you've already made note of www.ofo.ca, because that website will give you just about all the information we're talking about tonight. And I know new members want to get really acquainted with all of this information at their leisure rather than just hearing it by Zoom. But we will talk about three things here. First of all, field trips. That's why most people join OFO, to be honest, is so that they can go on field trips. And we have almost 100 right now every year. And in 2023, we have close to 100. And these are for our OFO members. Once you become a member, you can sign up for any field trip you want to go on. And we have field trips all over Ontario, but the majority of them, I have to say, are in the Golden Horseshoe, because that's where the largest population is. But we do offer them everywhere, even up where Angie lives, in the far north. And hopefully you can get up to some of those long distance trips by planning ahead, because we give you the dates and the information at least a month in advance, so you can plan to go on those field trips. And they're really worthwhile. We have tremendous leaders. All of them are volunteers. Every single one of them is a volunteer. They don't get any payment. They give up their free time to lead groups and show them whatever birds they can find. And they really do a super job. And I hope you will sign up for some of those field trips. And you can also bring guests. They don't have to be OFO members. You can bring a guest if you wish. So you and a guest can come on any field trip. So you always have a companion as well. And you can stay for the whole field trip, or you can leave at any time you want. You just have to let the leader know so they're not looking for you if you've left at lunchtime, for example. Most of our field trips are full day. Some are 2 days, some are a weekend, but most of them are a full day trip. We have several half-day trips, and we've introduced some short hikes for people who don't want to be out all day. We've also catered to every imaginable birder in Ontario, in as much as we are now offering field trips to disabled people. We're offering them to all of the people who live in the far north, even if some of them cannot get transportation to some trips. We do offer them, and hopefully ride programs can be set up to help those people who do not have automobiles. But a lot of that has to be done privately. where you can contact someone who you know to take you on that field trip and bring them as a guest. So you do have the opportunity to go on any field trip. The sign-up procedure is straightforward. It's online on the OFO website. You go on that website and you sign up. You sign your name up for that field trip. And if just before the field trips, for some reason you cannot go, we ask that you please go back online and cancel your registration, because we have a wait list. Let's say there's only 15 people on a field trip and you're number 16, you would be number 1 on the wait list. So if somebody cancels, you would automatically go onto that registration for that field trip. So you wouldn't even have to touch the computer, you would be automatically registered. So that's why we ask members who cannot go on the trips at the last minute to please cancel, to give those people on the wait list an opportunity. I can answer any questions you like about field trips at the end of this meeting, or now, whatever you like. Otherwise, I'll move on. I don't want to take up the whole meeting. Birding Buddies is another thing that we offer, and it's online. You can go to the OFO website now, and it's on that front page. And Birding Buddies means simply friends or people who are willing to assist you when you go birding. For example, if you are coming from the far north and you are coming to Toronto area, you can check to see who has signed up on the OFO site as a birding buddy, who is willing to give you information about some of the best birding sites to attend when you are going to that particular part of Ontario that you're not familiar with. Or they can give you a ride and take you actually to the site themselves if they're willing to give up some of their free time. So there are different ways of being a birding buddy, but anybody who is offering to be a birding buddy is actually giving up their time to help you. And we do have a lot of people who've signed up already. The third thing I was going to mention is the Rare Bird Ambassador Program. That is a group of volunteers who have been willing to monitor rare bird sites over Ontario over the past 2 years. We've only had this in operation for a couple of years, and it's been very successful. And one of the first ones I remember is when Jeff Skevington and many other rare bird ambassadors were willing to monitor a sewage lagoon where a rare marsh sandpiper was visiting, so that the hundreds of birders who wanted to see it could get in to see it without scaring the bird away and without upsetting the local authorities. So what we do is we try and keep in touch with the local people and have them willing to take our ambassadors, who will not police, but they will act as silent policemen in most cases, and welcome birders to a site to see a rare bird. We had rare birds up in Manitoulin Island last year, and Colleen Riley and several other people were rare bird ambassadors at that site, and they welcome people into the person's yard and ask them to restrict themselves to certain parts of the yard, for example, so they don't scare the bird away, so other birders can come and see it. And they also keep the owners of that particular property happy, because often we ask if people want to make a donation, or at least thank the owners for their kindness in allowing us to see that particular species. So the Rare Bird Ambassador Program is another thing you can volunteer for. You can sign up for it, and it just means you go to that particular site. We give you the information, you go to that site and you volunteer for 1 day to work with visitors coming to see that particular rarity. We had another similar one, just to give you another example, up at the Packard Tract near Wasaga Beach last year, where we had the rare Kirtland's warblers appearing for the first time that were well known to birders in Ontario. And so we were having ambassadors trying to show the people where the best sites were to see the birds. And we hope to continue this program in the future because it's been very successful. If you have any questions, folks, on any of these three items, you can either email me at milsomedave@hotmail.com, or you can just send an email to fieldtrips@ofo.ca. Another way is just following up at the end of this meeting and asking questions. Thank you.
Thanks, Dave. Yeah, we
Anytime.
actually have a trip in Cochrane in 2 weeks on the 16th. And we up here where I live, we love when birding buddy people call and say, hey, would you go birding? Because honestly, we have no one to go birding with. There's very few of us here. So don't be shy if you're coming up north. And I speak not just for myself, but for my friends who are OFO members up here. We love it when people come up and go birding with us. So, but I'm going to jump over to Mike Burrell, and Mike is going to share some of the ways that OFO kind of helps people find the good birds.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to share my screen here. Oh, were you going to say something, Dave?
I was saying, apart from buying Mike's book.
Though there's lots of other ways you can do it. So, yeah, I'm just sharing my screen here. You should be able to see the website, the OFO website. You've heard lots about it from both Jeff and Dave already. It's ofo.ca. And the section that I'm talking about today is the Finding Birds section on the website there. I've got my mouse over it. And I'm just going to point you to a few different tools that we have available on the website to help you find birds. So OFO runs 2 email listservs currently. One of them is called AuntBirds. And how is this screen? Is it a bit too small, or?
Oh, it's good.
I saw a nod that it was a
good.
bit too small. I can make it a little bigger here. That's probably a lot better. Finding Birds, there's our AuntBirds and there's Bird News. Those 2 are email listservs. AuntBirds is for really, really, really rare stuff. So not too much gets posted there because there's not that much really, really, really rare stuff anymore. Or if there was, then they probably aren't that rare anymore anyways. So that's what AuntBirds is for. Bird News is for everything else. You can share sort of seasonal sightings. This time of year, we're getting daily reports from the different hawk watches that operate along the north shore of Lake Erie. So a really good place to get up-to-date information on those hawk watches. We also have a few weekly regional reports that come into Bird News. Some of them are regional reports from particular parts of the province. And then I do a weekly sort of roundup of what's happening with sort of the semi-rare stuff in the province, stuff that people tend to chase, but maybe not quite as rare as what would show up on AuntBirds. I actually missed this past week because I was camping. So I apologize, but you can check those out by clicking the archives. And that will also give you the instructions for how to join those by email if you'd like. There's lots of other ways to find out about where birds are. It's no longer just about email. One of the things you can use is the OFO Discord server, which Jeff already mentioned. I'm gonna pop that one open. And Discord is an app. You can run it on your web browser. You can run it on a phone. You can even download it as an app on your computer to run like on your desktop. But it is a standalone app. Kind of, if you've never heard of Discord, I explain that it's basically just like Facebook, and in that you join sort of groups, and so each server is like joining a Facebook group. So the OFO server has lots of great stuff. These are the different sort of channels along the left margin. These are different sort of topics that you can go in and chat birds with other birders. The reason I wanted to show it under Finding Birds is because we have these automated eBird alerts that show up here. So I'm going to click on the Ontario eBird so you get a sense of what goes on there. So these are pretty rare things across the province that are going to go in here. It's the same information you can get by email if you sign up for eBird alerts to your email. The nice thing is, though, it's a little cleaner because you don't get multiple reports of the same bird at the same time. You're only going to get one report every few hours if a bird is sticking put in one spot. And and you're not going to get older reports. You're only going to get reports if they're an update on a bird that was already there. So continuing birds that are around right now, we've got an eared grebe at Reeser Pond in Markham. There's a neotropic cormorant in Kingston. There's the eared grebe again in Markham, snowy egret at Long Point. So a lot of those same birds sort of stick and put. There's a neotropic cormorant in York region as well. So that's the OFO Discord server. There's regional chat channels. If you want to talk about Algoma birding with other Algoma birders, you can pop in there. And then there's regional eBird channels as well. So here's the Brant eBird channel. So it's going to give you things that are unusual for Brant County or the other, whatever the other channels are. So Discord, it's got a bit of a learning curve for those of you, if you're new to it. It's a bit overwhelming, I think, but it is fun and has lots of great information. So it's worth sort of sticking with if you want to use that as your tool. Lots of other things under finding birds. The last one I'm going to quickly show you is this Ontario Hotspots page. And this tells you about a website that OFO has partnered with, birdinghotspots.org. It tells you how to use this page. And there's a little video down at the bottom that you can watch that'll walk you through how to use it. But it's a really great place to search for a hotspot if you want to get more information about it. A lot of them have information filled in now about, instructions on how to access it, if there's special things you need to know, if there's a washroom facility or not, critical piece of information about a spot you might not know. And it's also a volunteer-driven data collection thing. So if you know information about your local birding spots, we'd love to have you contributing your information. There's a little tiny button underneath the title for each hotspot called Upload Photos or Suggest Edit, where you can click on those buttons and pop in photos if you've got photos that show what the place is like, or suggest content for the information about what the site is like, how to get to it, things like that. So we'd love your help populating that information for sites that don't have anything yet, or fixing things if you notice an error. But it's also a great tool for you to find information about birding hotspots even near you, or if you're planning a little birding trip in Ontario. So those are a couple things that are found on the OFO website under finding birds. But as Jeff and Dave have both said, just spend some time on the OFO website because we've got a lot of great resources to help birders have more fun.
Awesome. Thank you, Mike. When I first started birding, and I'm not like, super old. When I first started birding, I lived in Hamilton, and there was a phone message that you could phone into. On Friday nights, it was updated once a week, and you could phone and you could listen to the recording, and then you would know what rarities had been seen in the area. That's how we did it.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago. And I think things have changed a lot in probably 20 years. Like I think OntBirds started in 1997. I don't know if anybody remembers that, but started, Mike Street was kind of behind it at first, and it was run through Hamilton Wentworth Community Network.
Yep.
So yeah, that was the evolution of those phone trees and phone-in hotlines.
It's come a long ways. Thanks a lot, Mike. I always learn something too, Kara. I've got to play with that hotspots thing. I'm going to move over to Sarah Rupert, and she will be sharing some things about our online stuff.
All right. Well, Mike and Jeff have talked a lot about the OFO website, and I'm going to just share my screen here and show you a couple other resources that are available. Can everyone see that okay? So one of the places that you will probably want to check out at some point in time is our YouTube channel. So this is like the homepage on the YouTube channel. So it'll just have, if you've been on YouTube and you subscribe to anybody, you'll get any new things come up in your feeds. But the thing that's nice about our channel is I've created playlists. So I'm just going to click on the playlists here. So you can see we have a playlist for the Enabled Birding Project, OFO members meetings. So we put the recordings from the members meetings up on our YouTube channel. So if you aren't able to attend a meeting, you can always go over to the YouTube channel and watch it at a later date. Anytime we do a webinar or some sort of online learning, we will put a recording of that also up on our YouTube channel. And we've also been doing our annual general meetings out of necessity because of COVID, but we've continued recording them and putting them up on our YouTube channel as well, which allows people who maybe aren't able to attend the meeting or want to go back and watch the presentation again, or for some other purpose, you've got the ability to do that. So that's kind of our YouTube channel. This is where anything that has been video and recorded will land. I'm just going to pop over here to our Facebook page. I'm not sure how many people have actually been on our Facebook page. This is what we look like right now. We've got a nice turkey vulture as our cover photo. And one of the things we get asked about a lot is, how do I find, say we're going to do a live webinar and we're going to do it on Facebook Live. So what you want to do is click on this More down tab, and you'll see Live and Events. So if you click on Live, if there's a live event going on, that's where you'll find it. If we have any upcoming events that are open to the general public. So when we do a lot of our, some of our webinars, we open it up to a broader audience, and that would be in the events section. Because our field trips are meant for, and our members meetings are meant for members, we don't put those up as events on the site other than the convention, which is up there right now. So if we clicked on events, you can see the convention is up here for Peterborough, and you can find out a little bit more about that, how to register for it and things like that. And then the one other place where we do have a presence is Instagram. And I just wanted to let you know that you can actually look at Instagram without having an Instagram app on your phone. So it's just Instagram.com, and we're OFO Birds there. So you can see these are some of our more recent posts that we've put up. Sometimes it's a slideshow. This post here was for Turkey Vulture. It was International Vulture Awareness Day on the weekend. So we like to share things like that. Over the winter, we'll probably be doing some quizzes over quiz birds. So we'll post a bird picture and have that might be a tougher ID, and people can guess and see what's going on with those things. So if you're out and you use Instagram, you can always tag us on OFO Birds. And if you're coming to the convention and you take pictures that you post to social media, well, asking everybody to use the hashtag OFO 2023. So that's kind of the overview that I want to give everyone. And if you have, again, any questions, let me know. So I'm going to just share here. And I'll pass things back over to you, Angie.
Thanks, Sarah. I was busy writing this down on a piece of paper. I don't have Instagram, but I kind of like that. I might try it. Cool.
Well, it's a fun, it's very visual, and I find it's a less toxic place than some of the other social media places have become in the last few months.
Well, I have not seen Maxwell log in, so I don't know what's going on there. But I wonder, Colleen, if you would be able to speak a little bit about EDI, because I know you're part of that committee.
Sure.
Thank you.
So the EDI committee, I think, started probably 2 or 3 years ago. And so what EDI stands for is equity, diversity, and inclusion. And our goal is to reduce the barriers that different populations face in accessing OFO activities and participating fully. So when there's a number of things that we've done. We've set up a first year free membership program, which now will become an ongoing program for anyone facing financial barriers that prevent them from accessing a membership. We did something called a diversity survey last year. So we got a sense of who our members are, how they identify. And it just helps us to sort of get a sense of who we're reaching and who we're not, and then get some goals as to how to get more people from the groups that we're missing. So that's kind of the nature of the activities that we do, and we collaborate with the board, provide some recommendations, and just it's a very collaborative committee.
I think it's just really, about kind of removing barriers. There's been also some improvements to how the trip descriptions are written, so that people know if they're going to have to be able to negotiate really hilly terrain, for example, stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. So we want to facilitate people with mobility concerns so that they can access field trips as well. We've tried to standardize our trip descriptions so the information is there so people can see whether or not it would be suitable for them.
Great, thank you.
Sure.
Susan, where are you?
I'm here, thank you. So I'm the volunteer coordinator for OFO, and as you've heard from everyone here tonight, we rely on volunteers to make all of this happen. So if you're interested at all in getting involved or volunteering, there's lots of different ways to get involved. Just for example, with the hikes, leading or co-leading a hike, or assisting with the field trip administration. Those are areas of need. As they talked about earlier, becoming a rare bird ambassador. We always need help with the annual conventions. So there's lots of things to do. We've been using the monthly call notes email that goes out to sort of highlight areas of urgent need, but there's always areas that could use your help. So if you're interested in getting involved, you can email me at volunteer@ofo.ca. And I hope to hear from some of you.
You write that in the chat, the
Yes,
email address. Thank you.
I can.
I'm going to go back and share my screen again. And while I'm kind of doing that, if anybody has questions or comments or things that you'd like to share, please do. All right. Okay, is that working? More or less. Upcoming trips and such. So I put a whole bunch of trips there. We have a lot going on between now and our next members meeting. My favorite, of course, is September 16th in Cochrane, because I'm going to be leading it. Actually, I'm not supposed to be, but Rhonda is unable to do it, so it'll be me and my husband, and that'll be a lot of fun to do that.
It's definitely the September 10th York visit, Angie. You're wrong, because I'm leading that one.
Oh, is it? Is that the better one? I think they're all good. They're all good.
I probably disagree with you, actually. Yours is probably going to be more fun, but.
Well, I don't know. I'm hoping we see some birds. We've had a lot of forest fires this year, so we'll be getting them out probably next weekend and scouting for some of the blackbirds, black-backed woodpeckers and three-toed woodpeckers that tend to hang around the burns. But yeah, our next online members meeting will be the first Wednesday of October, and we have Brett Forsyth going to share some of the stories that didn't make it into the OFO news, because there's a lot of stories there about his eco-friendly big year and some of the considerations that and reflections that he has after doing that. I also want to talk a minute about the OFO convention, because the OFO convention is our biggest annual event, and it is taking place in 2 locations this year. Peterborough for you Southerners down there, and Timmins for us hardy souls up in Northern Ontario. There are both of those have registration pages on the OFO website, so I would encourage everybody to sign up for that. I'm not sure. I think you might have to be a member to do Peterborough. Is that true, Dave?
I don't believe so. As long as we have spaces, I think we take all comers.
Are we okay? I know Timmins is open to anybody because
But
we
they-
are small and young and we're growing. But there it is. I'm going to stop share. And oh, yeah, there's Susan's message. And if nobody has any questions, then I think that's about it for tonight. So I will say thank you to everybody for coming out. Come birding, go to the convention, volunteer, find some birds, have fun. Alrighty. Good night, all.
Thanks,
Thanks.
Angie. Good night.
Thanks, Andy.
And
Night.
Thank you, everybody.
You're welcome.
Thanks,
Hi,
Andy.
everyone.
Good night.